With Belly the Beast returning, you probably got a couple questions with yourself. And whether you're a newcomer or you are a veteran in Warframe, this is the best, hands down, the best event to be doing. Why, you may ask that? Well, we're gonna get into it. Welcome everyone, this is Lo-Fi Noah, and we're gonna be talking about Belly of the Beast, the returning event and everything that came with it. If you like the video here, then feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button so you'll be plugged in on the next videos that I'll be dropping. Got a lot of stuff coming, guys, and I got a couple more ideas to spread out here. So now, in order to do this quest, you have to complete the Jade Shadow quest. So if you don't got that done, I'll wait. Hold on. When you're done, I'll be right here with you. Once you get the quest done, you can make your way over to Uranus. There, you can start the mission called Brutus. The event has 3 parts to it. Number 1 is defending a moat collector. Pretty much simple. All you're doing there, just standing there, not letting it get shot, waiting till the timer hits 0, then you can move on to the next stage. The next part is pretty much powering the elevator. In order to power this, you must either kill enemies or go find these green or glowing green power cores and then throw it at the power supply that is sitting in the middle of the elevator. You basically want to keep this power throughout the whole entire time until the elevator meets the very top. Now, as you go through this, you're going to be seeing these sister beacons laying around different areas and even makes a noise whenever you're going up the elevator or simply bully jumping up.
Beacons, and the sisterhood will attempt to eliminate you. Orders would like to see them try.
Once you collect 3 of them, you can also spawn in a sister and fight them, which gives you bonus rewards like an arcane, plus more of the currency at the end that you get in order to trade in for arcanes or other things with the vendor. Now, before we move on to the next part of this, it's important to watch out for which green power cores that you are picking up, because some of them, like I said, are glowing. These glowing ones, when you throw it at the power core in the middle of the elevator, it will give you more like a speed bonus or give it a faster boost. And so it'll take it less time for it to go up the elevator. So I would highly recommend that if you are going through it, try your best to look for the glowing ones as well as the regular ones so you can speed up the process as much as possible. Now, before it starts moving, if you did pick up 3 sister beacons, then the sister will spawn in, you defeat the sister, then you turn around and the structure will start moving. If the structure takes too much damage, then it'll start to regenerate itself, get immune, and you'll have to wait a little bit, so it just takes longer for the mission to end. So you pretty much want to kill any of the enemies around you that's trying to attack you. Now, before we jump to the vendor that is located in Mercury, should you really be doing this on Stealth Path or not? Do it on Stealth Path if you have Stealth Path unlocked. Whether you have the gear or not, run Stealth Path if you have it. If you don't, cool, run normal mode. You're still going to be getting currency regardless whether you do Stealth Path or not. It's just that you'll get it a lot quicker or get done with how much currency you need to buy certain things that you want in the vendor if you're running Stealth Path. Now that you got Belly the Beast under your belt, we can finally talk about the vendor. Now you make your way to the Ladronda relay that is on Mercury. You make your way to Ortis, and this is the person that you talk to that keeps up with all the different arcanes that are really important for newer players and even returning players and even in-game players. The reason why is because he offers a abundance of different arcanes, ranging from really the best ones to be selling on Warframe markets, or some of the ones that you need for your everyday builds that you're using on your Warframes, or weapons that you need them for. And by completing a couple missions from the event, you're being handed these currencies to use inside his shop. And I would highly recommend, okay, if you are a new player or you're a returning player, okay, and you don't have this, you need to stop what you're doing right in the middle of this right now and go do this. You need to do this, okay? Recording this video, you only got 16 days left. You need to have a clan dojo, okay? In order to get the best arcane in his shop, you must have a dojo. Whether you join a friend's dojo, random dojo, or you create your own, you must have a dojo. And I bet you're asking, no, why do I need a dojo for this? Whoa, he is selling one of the best arcanes on the game that every build and their grandmother, your dog that be playing it in the background when you don't be looking, okay? The cockroaches that be playing under your bed that you don't be seeing half the time be using this thing when they play, okay? And that is Arcane Energize. If you don't pick up any other arcane in this game, you need to be picking up this arcane, especially if you got a dojo, okay? This arcane is one of the hardest ones to get, and on top of that, it fetches a phenomenal price on Warframe Market once they become more scarce again. And your boy will be stocking up because your boy already got some. Okay, it's already maxed out. All right, so that should be your full front thing to do. And lastly, the other currency allows you to buy Jade herself, her blueprints, neuroptics, or chassis, including her weapons and newer arcanes that only came out with the event. So I would highly recommend you guys pick that up. Now I know what you're thinking. What is the best arcanes? You know, this event, it got a couple more days. Okay, I've been grinding. What's the best arcane? I've already preached. You should be getting Arcane Energized. That's number one on the front if you don't have that. Now, if you have Arcane Energized, the next one on your list that you should be getting is Arcane Avenger, Arcane Aegis. You can do a toss-up between Arcane Rage and also Arcane Fury, Arcane Precision. And then again, you could do another toss-up between Arcane Acceleration and Velocity. For the Jade Event Arcanes, you should be picking up Secondary Fortified. That is hands down the best. Now that we have gotten our hands on it, play with it, test it a little bit more and more, this arcane is really the best. The next one I would recommend is Arcane Ice Storm. And your boy did make a video on that. Go watch that real quick. Okay, plug that in. Secondary Surge. And then lastly, Arcane Battery. This is kind of like for niche builds if you don't want to run flow and you want to put it on Warframes that have a lot of armor. And the last thing with Ordis that he has to offer, you can play as the Stalker. So if you want to experience what it's like to be a father figure, definitely recommend you playing the Stalker if you just want to do that, or if you just don't have the gear or the items and you're trying to run it in Steel Path. Again, highly recommend you doing that. But no, okay, I don't have Steel Path and I have to do the normal mode and I'm only getting about 4 or 5 motes per mission. Okay, is there any other way I can get more of these motes, man? Is there any other way? I got you. So look, if you look at your alerts, this is the new thing they plugged in them up. You can do the simple missions like your spy, your exterminate, your disruption. It always pops up. There's always 3. Do these missions to get more of the currency so then you can speed up that process. Because I'm gonna be real, in Steel Path, running the Jade Event, you get naturally 11 to 10 and above for the currency. With these types of missions, you're getting that much depending on what mission it is. So really deep down, if you are stuck in normal mode and you don't have Steel Path unlocked, bro, you need to be doing these missions every single time they come up. They always refresh, they always come back around. Check your alerts, you will have it done. And woo, now we finally got that done. Now we can finally get into why we really made this video. Jade, the pregnant Warframe. I got a glazer. I got a glaze. Okay, I got a glaze this Warframe. I enjoy her playstyle. And to be honest, I like more of the non-flying playstyle that I have for her. So I want to show some builds off with you guys. I enjoy Jade. I think Jade is one of the best Warframes. Not only the best Warframe, but one of the best helmet ability Warframes to also pick up from this event, guys. Just gonna be real. So if you don't like Jade at all, but you're saying to yourself, does she have at least a good helmet? Then still pick her up, level her up, and then subsume her. Because these abilities right here, the eyes, bro, you gotta get your hands on it. It's phenomenal. And I'm gonna show you pretty much my 2 builds for I play for Jade. And before I jump into the build and everything for her, I'm just gonna give you a basic rundown of like what her ability does, so then you'll just know if you just don't know. Light Judgment, pretty much her first ability. You throw it out, it does damage to the enemies. It also heals you if you're inside the little radius of it. Second ability, pretty much you have 3 different abilities that you choose from. One gives you shield, the other one gives you more damage to your guns, and then lastly gives you more strength. Third ability, the eyes, pretty much her bread and butter. Like, to be honest, this is the best helmet ability to be having. You don't replace this at all on Jade. This is one of the best. Definitely, even if you don't play Jade, still pick this up and helmet it, because it's just a lot better. I don't like to use Terrify a lot. Sometimes I hate Nourish, sometimes Roar is decent, we get it. But like me personally, Jade Eyes, that is up there for a really good helmet ability. Then lastly, like Glory on High, pretty much you're just flying in the air, rain down destruction on your enemies, pretty much doing fire damage to them. Key things to know about Jade. So her 3 pretty much armor strips the enemies, slow them down, and on top of that, revives your allies. Now, if you subsume this ability on another Warframe, you will not be able to pick up allies, but you'll still be able to armor strip and slow down enemies. Her 2, pretty much, if you make sure to throw down your 1 and enemies are having a little symbol over their head, then as long as you get a kill or kill one of the enemies that has a little symbol over their head, you're gonna continue your duration of your 2. So if you got like the shield regeneration on, or like the more strength, or you want your guns to have more damage for a longer time, as long as you make sure you kill them, you'll be good if they're in the little circle or have the symbol over their head. And I almost forgot about our passive. So basically she gets to have 2 ore mod slots, and on top of that, her judgment increases enemies damage vulnerability by 50% for 10 seconds. So with Jade, and if she ever gets a prime, which I'm pretty sure she will, then this will be a really good Warframe. You don't have to worry about building her like too much. You don't have to farm her that bad. Like, it's really not that bad when it comes down to like building her, to be honest. Now onto the build. This build right here is the flying build. Okay, you're gonna be spending majority of the time in your 4, okay, glory on high, spamming down your 3, your 2, and your 1, but preferably you want to keep your energy up the whole entire time as you're using this ability whatsoever. So what are we running? We're running corrosive projectile, pistol amp, transit fortitude, prime continuity, adaptation, equilibrium, bleeding expertise, prime redirection, continuity, and umbra intensify. Now, I've tried numerous of different ways to run this build. I think the biggest thing with Jade is the flying. To be honest, like in still path, she can do fine and you can build it up to survive, but I kind of like to build my builds again with surviving a lot more in longer fights. And so the best way I could do this is by running just a normal prime redirection and then popping her 2, which gives you the spirit of resilience, and that pretty much keeps your shield up for majority of the time as long as you're getting a kill inside her 1 or they have the symbol above their head. So that's kind of what worked for me for the most part. You can put the ore mod avatar there if you wanted to, if you wanted more of like, you know, taking lesser damage while you're airborne. I'm simply just too lazy to farm it. I may do it, but anyway, what could you change out for this build? Really deep down, you could change out prime redirection for health conversion if you wanted to do a health build type of surviving. But when I tested this for myself, it pretty much did not work. It felt as though I had to be on the ground in order to get the health orbs, and it wasn't really giving me at all what I needed. So I tend to just left this alone. And then on top of that, you can also try out the combat discipline, run this ore mod, and then change it to Arcane Avenger. You can run that, but for me personally, you're gonna be trying to kill a lot of stuff in your 4, and when you're doing that, plus also trying to keep yourself alive, like at that point you'll just die. She doesn't have no ability that really negates the point of combat discipline killing you. So you can, if you really want to, and now buff up her glory, like damage numbers with the crit and all, but I tend to not want to run that. So for me personally, this is the best way that I ran it, and I have to go ahead and preface this as well. If you don't have the prime mods, then it's okay, run the regular ones. So if you don't have prime redirection or prime continuity, run regular redirection, continuity, same thing, umbra intensify. If you don't have that, intensify. Things that you could change in this build, I'm gonna be honest, there's not really too much that you can change in this build. It is kind of hard to really give Jade everything, because what she really cares about is duration, efficiency, and strength, and then lastly range. So if you like more range, you'll put more range, but you have to sacrifice something in order to gain that. And then for duration, you really want duration for her 3 and 1, because majority of the time you have to ask yourself, do you want to be spamming your abilities a little bit more, or do you want to have them a lot longer? Especially if you care about like stripping armor with the eyes, then naturally you'll kind of want her 3 to last a little bit longer, but I have it at 96. As you see, I'm running Arcane Energize, so again, everyone's running it, okay, no secret here. And then Arcane Velocity. Now this Arcane in particular, you need to be running this, I'm not gonna lie, if you care about the fire rate on your glory. The fire rate on the glory just sucks, it's very slowish, and I would highly recommend you putting this Arcane on if you have it. Even at 1, if you don't have it, then you'll have to deal with your glory shooting slower, and then you'll have to put probably mods on the glory itself in order for it to shoot faster. But before we jump into the playtest for it, then I'm gonna show you glory. I'm pretty much just running a standard build for the glory, not even gonna lie. It's not nothing too special. Glory has a difficult way of building it. It has really low crit rate, and on top of that, low status. I would say decent status really, but for the most part, you know, you're just gonna run your basic build for all your secondaries, but you want the secondary to do damage, so you put on your galvanized mods, you know, your 90%, your 60-60 mods. I put lethal turret here to give me more multi-shot and fire rates, because again, it's very slow on shooting. You can change this out for a different mod if you want more status or you want something else entirely, but I'm just running it. And then of course, you know, your damage mod. So, and of course, if you know, if you're doing corpus, you know, I change it. See, this time I changed it up a little bit by having the galvanized shot here instead. But pretty much that's the only big reason that you'll be changing your mods, to be honest. Glory is just really not that type of fancy secondary. It's not really that crazy. It's hard to really make it. I would also like to add as well, if you are playing like flying warframes, I would highly recommend you not running a companion like a cat or a dog or a robot, because they cannot fly, obviously, and they're not really going to stick with you half the time. So I would highly recommend you running more of a flying pet, so like your carrier, your dagger, your helios, stuff like that, really, because that will stay with you and it can still proc like different status effects on the enemies and stuff like that if you need that pet to proc. Now that we're in the mission, pretty much simple. You want to first, you know, start the mission however you want to do it. Immediately jump into your 4. As soon as you see the enemy, pop your 3. Turn around, pop your squad shielding effective increase. You're pretty much goated now. All you need is just 1 energy and boom, I already got 4 energy. Oh, and I also forgot to add as well about this build in particular. So normally when you have energy abilities that zap away energy slowly, you'll want to put like prime flow or regular flow on the build. But for me personally, I had too much that I had to sacrifice in order to just put prime flow on it. So instead we ran with the basic like her capacity, which is 200 energy. But the thing is, by having fleeting expertise plus equilibrium plus, you know, arcane energize, you really shouldn't be crying for energy by yourself or playing with people. You really truly should not be crying for energy. The only way you gonna be crying for energy, unless you mess up and step on one of the Eximus units that zaps it away, or you're just not paying attention and you die too quickly. But like other than that, you're not gonna cry for energy. So I thought running the basic minimum of energy was gonna be the best bet, because I still got majority of the mods that require more on the build than opposed to just trying to put flow on. Pretty much now we're just flying around and you don't have too much to worry about. You throw down your 1 to mark the enemies, and then from here you're pretty much just shooting. That's all you're doing. You're killing any enemy that's marked. If you see one enemy that's not marked, you throw it again. See, and then pretty much you just start this rotation of like proccing enemies, stripping them of their armor, getting them naked, killing them with your 4, and then you're pretty much good to go. You're never really going to use this one, the second one, where it like increases your weapon damage, because obviously you're flying in the air using glory. So, but if you do want to use it, you can if you truly want to, but I don't really find myself using it if you have her 4. Okay, so then right there I just lost my shield, so now change, I pop this. Also the ability gives you a little bit of like immunity frame, a little bit like for a couple seconds, so that kind of like will save you as well if you need to. So then yeah, this is pretty much the build. So then we're gonna move on to the second build, and really is my favorite. Like I like this build a lot more, but the thing is, you're not gonna be flying. Now I call this build the walking stop sign. Okay, so this build in particular, you know, we kept certain things the same, but we changed a couple things around. So with that being said, we have now put brief respite on. It pretty much just gives you like shields every time you spend energy. You can still keep this like the same as the first build. If you want to put corrosive projectile there, you can, but I just felt more safe putting that there. The next, growing power for more strength. Prime sure-footed for that maximum damage, of course. Why not? You gotta run it. Okay, just saying. We kept transit fortitude. We changed prime continuity and we put regular there. I'm just too lazy to formula it again. If I formal it, then I can easily put prime continuity here. But for more people, if you care about it, you'll put it there. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. Cool. So now instead, we're actually running 2 range mods, okay, which that'll tremendously help out with Reach Surge, which is with ability. I changed out her 4 for this. You can put numerous of different things here, to be honest, which will change up the build and playstyle of it. If you didn't want to use Surge, you can use Privilege from Heldren, which is kind of weird. Don't know why you want to put another armor stripping ability on it, which I tried it. It's you can't really lose shielded with that. Okay, you could put a Sickening Post there as well, which you have to get that from the last helmet after like subsuming or getting rid of different Warframe's abilities. So keep that in mind. You can put Korra's ability there to group enemies together. Lavos, numerous of different things. Nourish, obviously. Rhino, obviously. So again, your 4 can pretty much change out, and it'll pretty much change the whole entire build of this. Equilibrium stayed the same. We still got prime redirection on it. Augur Secrets, and of course, Umbra Intensive. The way this build works is pretty much you're going to be first popping your 3, your 2, and then any enemies you see, you'll put down your 1, and then you put down your 4. You pretty much starting carnage at the end of the day. Like everything is dying, everything is it's just a light show of people dying left and right, and that's pretty much the build of this. Now over here on your arcanes, you again, I'm running Arcane Energized. So, you know, again, if you're doing this event, go out your way to get Arcane Energized. This will like help your build tremendously. Okay, but this time we're running Arcane Aegis. We're running Arcane Aegis. This particular arcane, what this does is when you take damage, you have like a 3% chance of 30% shield recharging for 12 seconds. Do you need this arcane? Truly no, because you can really run this with just her 2, and her 2 does the same thing as the arcane. So you can actually change this out for any other arcane you want. But for me personally, I put it there because it solidifies it a little bit more, it strengthens it a little bit more, but you don't need to run. So the weapons of my choice that I'm going to be running for this time is going to be the Kuva Nuclear, then the Graver Prime, and the Orthus Prime. We're not going to be using Glory whatsoever because we took off the 4, so we can't use it. So that's pretty much it. Now, before we jump into this showcase of like the build, I want to go ahead and tell you guys about the shard. So as you see so far, I didn't have no shards on my Jade whatsoever. It's just not something I'm running on her. But if you was kind of curious about what you should be running on Jade, and this will pretty much depends on if you like the flying build more, or do you like the stationary or on the ground more, then this will change up what type of shards you'll run. I would highly say put on like casting speed, maybe like 1. Her abilities are fast, but it's kind of slowish at the same time. So having at least 1 casting speed yellow shard is nice. Then of course you can run the orange ones if you want to strengthen glory up, increasing your secondary chance. Now, if you care about energy, then I would say either put on blue shards with the energy max, or you'll put on the purple ones, which that will give you the equilibrium for free, and then you can change out equilibrium out of the build for something else. So that is pretty much the shards that I would recommend. But again, you don't need shards, and as you see, I'm not using shards for the build either. I tend to put my shards on Warframes that I really like, and for this type of Warframe itself, I like her stationary more. So if I did, I'll put more shards on that help out the staying on the floor more often than opposed of trying the flying build. As soon as you see some enemies, pop your 2, pop your 3. Now you have no energy, but that's okay. Throw down your 1 and then start it up. You got some energy, you got energized helping you out, and then from there you pop your 4, and that pretty much starts the carnage. You pretty much just follow along with your little beams to the next enemy, to the next enemy, to the next enemy. That's pretty much it. You see some enemies that's not having a little symbol on their head, put the symbol on their head. Okay, you don't see them again, put a symbol on your head. Oh, your eyes about to run out, repop it. That's all you gotta worry about. Oh, you see a lot of enemies grouped up, hit them with the 4. Carnage. It's that simple. Guess what? You're never dying. You don't need it. And if you want, you can turn around and actually use squad weapon damage. So proc this. So now your weapons do more damage. Reapply the things on their head. And pretty much simple.
I'm doing 21k, 6.3. Oh, I'm getting shot up. Oh, let me pop my 3. Boom. Oh, that's an Xmas unit. Not in my house. Boom. Pop that. Pretty much simple. You're dead. You're not really gonna have issues with this build. Like, it's very hard to really mess this up unless you're just not paying attention. I like this playstyle more because it's a lot more engaging. It's not like easy. Like if you're running, I want to say Quincy's ability from Warframe 1999, then you can easily keep yourself like in viz as long as you just shoot heads and stuff. But with this build, it's more of like engaging. And then with Surge, that also like blinds them and also staggers them. So you don't really have to worry too much. The only enemies that kinda would get in your way is the Xmas units. But again, Xmas unit always gets in the way of everything because they just can't be CC'd and they can't be interrupted by most stuff. So I would highly kill them first before anything else. But as you see, they just dying. So I can change it, go back to this. Now, if you're running more of like a grouping weapon, then this makes it even much easier because you're hitting more enemies and that means you're killing stuff faster. But I just wanted to run this with like a single target weapon because I just want to show off how would the build function with these types of weapons than opposed of just like the best weapons that we normally see every time. I didn't want to use incarnate weapons because of course incarnate weapons just make everything stronger and a lot more easier. So I just want to show you what will happen if you didn't have the incarnate weapons or didn't have like the best weapons that is strong in Warframe. You won't have issues with this. You can run this by yourself. You can run this with a group of people. At the end of the day, you're not going to be dying, okay? There's no way you can be dying with this build. And this, to me personally, on Jade, is her best build to be running her. Not even gonna lie. The flying's okay, but I don't feel that much secure with that. So I like this. And that's pretty much it. That's all I really want to say to you guys, give you guys that type of ideal. I hope you guys enjoy. If you made it this far, bro, thank you. You know, appreciate you guys watching it and checking it out. And I'm gonna be posting another video shortly after this talking about the helmet's ability. So I may even be live right now. So other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm just gonna leave you guys with a fashion frame of titanium, and that's pretty much it. Take it easy.